Hello and welcome back to the New Wave Nerds. We're back for another movie review, and this time we're going to be taking a look at Avatar from 2009 in the lead up to the new movie Avatar: Fire and Ash. Comment down below what you thought of the original Avatar movie. I'm your host, Brennan Sem.
And I'm Shayde Sem. Go like and subscribe for more nerd content and commentary, and let's roll that intro.
Avatar was released in 2009, and in it, a paraplegic marine dispatched to the moon of Pandora on a unique mission becomes torn between following his orders and protecting the world he feels is his home. It is written and directed by James Cameron and stars Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang, Michelle Rodriguez, and Giovanni Ribisi. And she doesn't have a big part in the movie, but CCH Pounder. That's her name, CCH Pounder.
Okay.
You've seen some of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So as always, we're going to begin with a brief non-spoiler review. Shayde, what did you think revisiting Avatar from 2009?
Well, I was nervous going back into it. It's definitely not a movie where I was excited to rewatch it. But going back into it, I enjoyed it. You know, I will say, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I of course think the CGI is great, but the like environment, just like I talked about in Badlands, was one of my favorite parts of the thing. It was so cool looking around, seeing all the different things, all the cool little plants and stuff, and fruits and vegetables that they have, and all that. So yes,
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. I was also not very excited to revisit it. I think we've talked about it at least a couple times on the podcast before. Even when it first came out, I was never really a huge fan of Avatar, the movie. Of course, love Avatar, the show.
who couldn't?
But I'm not a huge fan of it. I never have been. When the second one was announced, everybody was super excited, and I was like, I don't need to spend money on this. I'm not super excited to go see the third one, but we're doing it just to review it because it's a new release. It was about as good as I remembered it being. There are some clunky parts that I don't really like in the dialogue and stuff. I don't think James Cameron is necessarily amazing when it comes to writing dialogue. When it comes to world building, he's absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
Everything about Pandora is really, really cool. Like you talked about, the environment, the creatures, the culture, all of it is really, really cool. But I will say it didn't get me excited for the new one.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like there have been a few times where a new movie's coming out and I haven't been super excited for it. And then we go back and watch the old stuff and and then I go, all right, now I'm hyped. The same thing kind of happened with Tron Ares. When they announced Ares, I was like, this is not going to be that good. And then we went back and watched the original and I was like, all right, I'm in. I'm ready for this. Ultimately, that movie let me down. But hopefully we have a situation where we go see Avatar: Fire and Ash and I'm blown away. I want to feel the way I did about Predator Badlands and not the way that I felt about Tron Ares. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. And who knows? Maybe just because us being in a theater seeing it will change our view on it a little bit, you know?
I saw the first Avatar in a theater.
Oh, you did?
It came out in 2009.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
What's when I was alive. You might have been 4 years old, but I was a
Well,
little more.
I don't know.
But yeah, no, I mean, hopefully, I mean, that's the good aspect about the theater is that you can just sort of surrender yourself to the movie and not pay attention to anything else.
You don't got to worry about lagging, internet not working. You know?
Yeah, that doesn't normally happen when I'm watching movies, though. So thankfully, I don't have that problem.
Oh, well, okay.
I will say sometimes my Wi-Fi does cut out and I don't have the remote, so I have to use my phone as the remote. And sometimes my phone will lose connection to the Wi-Fi. And so it's like 10 o'clock at night and it gets super loud. And right as I go to turn the volume down, my phone disconnects from the Wi-Fi. So I'm just like, I have to close the app and reopen it and be like, go down. And then of course, as soon as I get the volume down, the massive dramatic explosion is ended. And so I have to crank it all the way back up again. It's really frustrating.
You and Netflix don't get along either.
My Netflix has not worked for a long time.
Oh, it still isn't working.
No, I can't really watch things on Netflix because I'll get into the movie or the show and it'll be fine for like a couple minutes. Sometimes it's 10, sometimes it's a half an hour, but then the entire thing will crash and it'll take me right back to the TV home screen.
Netflix, Where you at? I mean, come on, help him out.
It's happened multiple times through multiple updates and multiple different TVs.
Well, I mean, out of Hulu and every other streaming service, Netflix, I have the most issues with too. You know, it's not great.
Yeah. Anyways,
Sorry.
so let's go ahead and get into the spoiler section here for Avatar. The first thing that I want to talk about, like you mentioned the effects. The way that we always talk about this movie is that it like revolutionized CGI. It was so amazing and so incredible. And that is mostly true. But in the beginning, there are a few parts where I was like, wow, this really does not hold up.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you have the, I don't even think they give them a name in the movie, but they're those sort of panther wolf.
Oh yeah, the silky panther looking thingies.
That thing looked so bad in the beginning. It looked better in the end, but in that first opening chase scene, it looked so god awful.
The times that I could think of is just like the avatars themselves. Sometimes, you know,
Sigourney Weaver's avatar did not look good.
No, the face would sometimes be a little blotchy, I guess.
Yeah, but I will say I feel like as far as those go. As far as the Avatar, the Na'vi, Sigourney Weaver's was the only one that I was like, this doesn't look good. But Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana's, even Joel David Moore, Norm Spellman, the other homie, I felt like all of theirs looked really good. Sutsei and the two tribal leaders or whatever, I felt like they all looked really good. But for some reason, Sigourney Weaver's just looked weird. Like it looks so much more fake than everything else.
Maybe she just doesn't have a face for an avatar.
Well,
you know?
I think the problem is, and maybe I'm looking into this too much. I feel like they tried to make her avatar look more like Sigourney Weaver than they tried to make Jake Sully's avatar look like Sam Worthington. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Like they tried to make for Jake Sully's avatar, they were like, let's get some of the basic face shape here so you can tell kind of that it's Jake Sully. But for Sigourney Weaver, they were like, we have to show that this is Sigourney Weaver. And because of that, it had like this weird uncanny valley thing.
Yeah, it had a weird face. Zoe's Saldana, though, she looked good.
Hers was great.
She was one of my favorite characters in this movie.
I would argue that she probably is the best character of the movie.
She was so cool. So I mean, well, speaking of, we're in the no spoiler section. Speaking of the
No, we are in the spoiler section.
Sorry, we are in the spoiler section. I meant to say we are. My bad. The silky, smooth, slippery dog scene.
Please don't ever describe anything like that ever again.
That was a cool scene.
The slippery, smooth, slippery dog scene. That's crazy.
That was a fun scene.
At the end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. She was just a really cool character.
Mm-hmm.
The tribe, like we just talked about, you mentioned in the beginning, the tribe is really cool, and the culture is cool. And that's one of my biggest parts about this movie that I love.
I think it's the only reason anybody likes this movie is because of the Na'vi. And because of just the world, like I said, James Cameron is great at world building, and I think that's the only reason that anybody likes it, because it looks so good, and a lot of the world building is just so interesting in the way they make everything and the way they tie it all in together.
Yeah. I mean, and the animals were really cool in this. The animals, man, they took some time for the creatures. Those are cool. Those are really cool.
Which is your favorite creature?
The flying ones.
The Ikran?
The dragonfly looking ones.
The Ikran?
The Ikran, yeah.
I just said it. Yeah. Do you like the regular flying ones, or do you like the Toruk?
Are the Toruk the ones?
The one that he's riding at the end.
Okay.
The sort of sideways hammerhead ones.
Yeah, the weird. I would say normal.
Yeah.
Those I like those ones.
I agree. I wish we had gotten a little bit more of him actually riding on it.
Mm-hmm.
Pause. I wish we had a little bit more of him riding the Ikran, because there's a line in the movie where he's like, it's something along the lines of like how I'm not very good at all of this. I'm not a scientist. I'm not the best hunter, but I was born to fly. Like he specifically mentions that. And then that's really the only time we actually see him fly the Ikran. And then later on, he just switches. And I get the symbolism of him being like, I am going to master. I have to get these people to trust me again. So I will become the Toruk Makto, the rider of the last shadow. I will become this mythological figure that has only happened 5 times in the entire history of this culture, so that they will listen to me. I understand the symbolism of that, but I'm a little bit like, didn't we just say earlier that like when you get an Ikran, like it's a bond for life? Didn't we just talk about that?
Dang, that's cool. Okay.
Which part?
Like it's a bond for life. I
Oh,
guess I
yeah.
didn't realize that.
Well, that's because it doesn't matter because he picks a different flying beast.
Oh. Well, yeah.
But I agree. It's a cool concept, and there's always that. That's something that I really like in like fantasy tropes, is that a tribe will have like a specific animal that they get attached to, and it's like the sacred animal of the tribe or whatever, and so there's that deep bond. And it's shown really well later on in the third act of the movie when Neytiri, Zoe Saldana's bird, Ikran, dies. Say or whatever the name is. When that thing dies, it's like a really surprisingly emotional beat because she plays it so well.
Yeah. Yes, man. Yeah, again, she was so good in this. Definitely one of my favorites, but I'm not going to get into that yet.
a little not so subtle foreshadowing.
But you don't know.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we talked about the effects. That's a pretty crazy thing.
Yeah.
Just to circle back a little bit to that, you know, we talked about how some aspects of the movie don't really hold up. The other thing that was really, really jarring to me is when Jake Sully first, you know, gets off the ship and is rolling down the tarmac or whatever.
Yeah.
He's the only person who looks real there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looks like it's literally shot. He's the only person on the entire green screen, and all of the obviously the robots, the background, the world, the ship, all of those are obviously CGI. But even like a lot of the people don't look like they're in the same, like they were edited in post.
Yeah. They're in that scene specifically. There's one part that I could think of, and it's you know, he's rolling on by, and there's this big like vehicle tractor thing with these huge wheels that rolls right behind him, and that looked bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that caught my eye.
Yeah. Now, of course, allowances because it's 2009.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting because this is the third time I've seen this movie. I watched it when it came out, and then I watched it when I was a senior in high school. We had to watch it for a class. And then watching it now. Yeah.
You had to watch this for a class?
We watched it in government class.
Why? What's the point?
Because it's a commentary on like the Bush administration.
Oh. Okay.
The corporation is like the Bush administration, unobtainium is oil, and the Na'vi are like Afghanistan or Iraq.
Cool. Okay, I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah, so that's why we watched it.
Dang.
But anyways, so the last time I saw this movie was like 5 or 6 years ago. And like I said, the only thing that I remember about this movie is that it looks phenomenal. So it was jarring going in and being like, oh, there's actually some parts in this that aren't that good.
Yeah. Very noticeable parts too.
Yeah. But like we said, by and large, like 95% of it looks really good.
Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, hot take, Tron Legacy, a little more groundbreaking than this.
Dude, shut up.
I'm just saying.
Shut up.
I'm just saying.
You're so stupid. All right. Let's go ahead and move things on a little bit here. What do you think is the most interesting aspect of like the Na'vi culture?
Most interesting aspect.
In that dead space, all I could imagine was hearing like the dial-up tone from the old internet. Of you being like,
that's what it feels like. Man, that's a tough one. You caught me off guard. I would say the hair thingy.
yeah. That's leads to some weird moments.
Yes, but I just
think
thought it was cool.
I think it's an interesting idea. I do like. Go
Sorry.
ahead.
Because in my
Go ahead.
in my culture, and I'd assume in your culture, because hair, they had very long hair. I don't want to like say anything
Because
wrong.
hair?
Because they had I don't know, hair might have been very sacred in your culture, as the Aztecs.
It's sacred in a lot of cultures, so I think we
Yes,
can just move past this and get to the point of what you're trying to say here.
It's really cool. They found out how to make hair so important that hair can be used for something.
Yeah, that was such a wild sentence, but I get the point of what you're saying. You phrased it really weird, but I know what you're getting across, and I agree with you. So I do think it's interesting to have this aspect that is, like I said, something that a lot of cultures can identify with, but to tie it into this sci-fi world by having it literally be the thing which connects you to the rest of the planet, right? Because it's the connection point in you making your bond with the Akron, with you riding the horse things, even to you mating with people. And the way in which you pray is the strands of the weird hair thing wrap around these not breeds. What am I trying to say? The dangly bits of this most sacred tree, and you can actually hear the sounds and the echoes of the people who are lost, right? I think it's interesting to have that. Why'd you say that? Like you didn't. Did you watch the movie?
No, I don't know. I was just saying, it's sad.
Anyways, I do think it's interesting to have that be the thing which literally connects you through the entire planet. But it does get kind of weird.
Yes.
Because there's a joke in The Big Bang Theory where Raj is like, so how in Avatar, with the way they mate with each other is by connecting their braids, and the guy's like, yeah, and he's like, and you know how they also use that to ride horses, and somebody goes, well, what's your point? And Raj goes, I just if I were a horse, I'd be a little weary around James Cameron. So it does get a little bit weird.
That's true. So wait, yeah, I guess that opens a whole book of questions, that I don't know if we could ask. So
I don't know if I want the answers either.
Go check out the Patreon. No, it's a fun concept. Some plot holes to be talked about, but
it is interesting though, like the way that they describe when you bond with the Akron, when you ride the horse, which is not a euphemism, when you actually ride the horse. The way that they describe it is that like your mind becomes one, and so to order them around, all you have to do is think it, because you are like sharing a thought, sharing the experience. You can feel them breathe and feel their heartbeat and stuff like that. Apart from the weird thing about how that's the same way that you mate, it is an interesting concept because you are literally becoming one with that other person, right? And because of that, they have that, the importance upon the sanctity of it, where it's when you mate, you mate for life, because you and I are one. Not you and me, because you and I are one. Gesturing to an imaginary person so we don't get our wires crossed here. We don't get our braids crossed. Yeah. You and I are one, and that is something that we share. And to share that experience with somebody else defeats the entire purpose of it.
It'd be really funny if there's that one guy in the tribe, and his hair got caught on something and it got really short. So now he has to ride the horse. He has to freaking lay his head down.
Babe, put your braid on me.
Let's do this.
Babe. No. Okay. All right. We're getting into a weird spot. And I sort of expected that this was going to happen.
Yeah. It's James Cameron's fault.
It is his fault, 100%. So just to move things along to something else completely different.
Yes.
What do you think of the whole plot with the actual company itself, them trying to get this this material that is really hard to obtain and is very imaginatively titled unobtainium?
Yes. Very clever name. to start off with.
I get the sense that when he was writing this, he was like, "Ugh, I don't have time to figure out what to call this MacGuffin." And so he was like, hard to obtain, unobtainium. We'll go back and fix that later. And then they never did it. They never bothered to change the name because they were busy working on other stuff.
I mean, it's a basic concept
Mm-hmm.
when you think about it, So I'm okay with it. It makes sense for the story. It makes sense, I'd say. The only other thing I could think of is maybe the government would be there so that way they can figure out how to get humans to this planet, like sick humans, and then do the body transfer to an avatar. Maybe.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work like that, then I'm sorry.
Well, no, I don't think it. I'm not obviously like they don't really bother to explain it all that much. But I mean, so there is a process that we see right at the end of the movie where the consciousness of the regular human is completely transferred into the avatar, and so the human body isn't necessary. But it's a very like spiritual practice. One, I have no idea how they know that that's possible.
Yeah,
because they like I don't get that. They don't really bother to explain that. But one, they have to do it. The Na'vi people have to do it, right? And also, if I'm understanding correctly, even if you were one, actually, now that I'm processing this in real time, depending on the type of sickness and ailment that you have, it literally might not be possible to do the mind link, because I would imagine that there is a certain type of stress that is put on the body in the process of that link. And so let's say hypothetically somebody has like severe lung cancer. They might die in the process of establishing the link. I have no idea, but I ultimately I think the plot line with the company logically doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Like the actual conflict of the movie logically doesn't really make that much sense at all, because they could just go somewhere else. Like, I know that in the script they established this is the largest deposit that we have in 200 clicks or something like that. But if you're thinking about this like an actual company, the fact that there are people there poses a real problem. And they mention this in the movie. PR, it's bad. It's a bad look to kill all these homies or to displace them or whatever. It's just a bad look, okay? They mention that specifically. 2, it's astronomically expensive. Because either you have to help give them supplies to move them out, or you have to slaughter them all, both of which requires a lot of time and money, a lot of resources. You got to think, this is in the year 2154, right? Missiles nowadays are super expensive. Can you imagine what they're like in 130 years from now? So logically, it doesn't make any sense, because the company could just go somewhere else and save a lot of time and money. Like, exhaust the resources in other places where there's nobody around. And then if you're a bad, evil corporation, then go and slaughter the people or try and move them out. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're thinking of this from a business economics perspective, which is the viewpoint that they're trying to establish here, because it's like 200 something a kilo, 200,000 a kilo or whatever. So they are thinking of this from a purely economic reason. The smart economic choice is to take the resources from somewhere else on the planet where there's nobody around.
Wow. That was deep. Wow. That was good. Okay, I see where you're going.
Like, of course, completely taking out the fact that it's no matter what, it's wrong. Like, if we're looking at this specifically from the eyes of Giovanni Ribisi, from the corporate executives, if you're a corporate executive and I'm like the person below you and I'm like, dude, we've got this great plan. We're going to make a bunch of money. Okay, we've got 2 options here. 1, we can travel a little bit of a ways, find some stuff where there's nobody around. We can just worry about picking up the stuff and taking it home. Or 2, there's a lot of stuff here, but there's 100,000 people there, and it's going to cost us $17 billion to displace them. You, as the executive, would not take the option that's going to cost you $17 billion.
Money's printable, boys.
Anyways, yeah, so for that reason, I'm like, okay, I get like the point of what you're saying here. But you can tell the same story and just be like, have one line where they're like, look, we've exhausted every other source of unobtainium that we can find. There's no other unobtainium for like the entirety of the continent. So all that's left here is under home tree. So there's no option other than to either move the Na'vi or kill them.
Yeah.
It's one line. But they're explicitly like, there's stuff other places. Okay. But I would rather spend all of the money we have killing 1,000 people.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they fire a lot of missiles.
They do. It was a lot.
They fire a lot of missiles.
They really mess them up.
The crazy thing is that after they destroy home tree, they're not even like, all right, let's move in some diggers, let's get some quarries going, let's figure out this unobtainium. They're like, nah, we gotta go to the sacred tree. We gotta wipe them all out. Like, but this isn't like what we're doing here. Like, this isn't what you wanted. You were specifically like, let's try the diplomatic approach so we don't have to kill anybody. And then by the end of the movie, they're like, who cares about the unobtainium?
They just want to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Which makes sense if you've only got Quaritch, because he's the military leader. It makes sense for him to be the one who's like, we got to do this thing. But we have Giovanni Ribisi right there, who is supposed to sort of be like the slimy businessman. So you would assume that the only thing he would care about is the resource or the money.
The Colonel is crazy. He was cool. He looks like he's scary.
Yeah.
He looks good.
No, the Colonel is an interesting character, and he's another character that we get some pretty interesting world building through, right? Because I like that line where he's like, I did 3 tours in Nigeria and I didn't get a scratch on me. And then I came here, and on the very first day, I got my brains clawed out.
Yeah. It's a scary place. Well, they're like freaking 8 foot tall.
Yeah, dude, the Na'vi are huge.
How do you expect to go against that?
Yeah. But I do think that line from Quaritch about, all the describing that he does of Pandora is really interesting in the way that it informs his character. Because, and I'm probably putting more on this than there is, but I like the idea that before he came to Pandora, he was still like, a military man who just cared about the mission and all this. But I like to believe that he wouldn't have taken any action as drastic as they took on Pandora. But as soon as he had that first day and he was almost killed, it sort of like broke his brain a little bit. And that's why he's like, I can bomb him. Pretty minimal casualties. We can get this stuff and get out of here lickety split.
I trust you, Colonel. Yeah, no. He was a cool character. Cool makeup design with the scratches though on his face. I thought that was a really dope touch.
They did a good job about making him the character that in the beginning you're sort of like, okay, well, he's being nice to our main guy. He's going to help him get his spine. Yeah. And then he very swiftly becomes the character that you love to hate.
Yes. I hate him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as you should. That's the point. And he's a terrible man.
if you love him, there might be questions needing to be asked.
All right, so let's go ahead and move things along here. Let's actually begin to slowly wind things down. Shayde, who do you think is the best actor in the movie?
Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, never would have guessed.
Yeah, she was really good. I mean, her action scenes were really cool. Mm-hmm. Her tribal acting was cool for a language that was created by James Cameron. I think she did.
Well, he didn't create it.
Oh, he didn't?
No, they had an actual linguist do it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I always love that's one of the reasons why Lord of the Rings is so cool, because Tolkien is a linguist, and so he created the language himself. And the language was actually one of the first things he made in the universe.
There was a girl in my school who made a mod on her laptop to where it like all of the letters were only in Arabic. So she learned how to like type in Arabic.
That's pretty cool.
It was dope. She was dope. Zoe Saldana was cool.
Well, she's pretty good. She's good in like basically everything. She's really, really talented.
Yeah, no, she really is. Her scenes, her action scenes were really good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The emotion that she portrays throughout the whole movie is really, really good. Especially when we have the scene where she finds her dad dead, or he is dying. The scream that she lets out is really heartfelt, and it's like, oh man, she's broken. It's over. In having that, like the moment also where she learns that Jake Sully has been like a double agent is also really powerful.
Yeah,
and it's only powerful because of her acting.
Yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was really great.
Mm-hmm.
Brennan, dang it.
Why do you?
I did it. Damn it!
Every time.
I've been doing good lately.
No, you haven't.
Bro, I didn't do it last time.
It's always like, Brennan,
I didn't do it last time.
Who's your number 3?
All right, let's restart. Who is your number 3? Wait, what?
I thought when you first did that you were making a joke, but no, you actually meant that.
I didn't even know what I was talking about, bro. Holy all right. Brennan, who is your favorite actor?
I think I've got to agree. It's Zoe Saldana. But to make things a little different and to give us another option, I am going to give an honorable mention to Giovanni Ribisi. He does really good at being this slimy businessman. I like Giovanni Ribisi a lot. I think he's really good. He's a really talented actor. He's also very funny.
Yeah, Friends.
Who's he in Friends?
He was he dates is it Phoebe's mom? No,
he's Phoebe's brother.
That's right. And
he's the guy who's like, I like to melt stuff.
Yeah.
He dates his home ec teacher from high school.
That's right. And she's like 70 years old or something.
She's not that old. Okay. She's like 50.
Yeah, 50.
She's 50, but he's supposed to be like 18 or 19.
Yeah. Holy crap.
And then they get married and have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're not talking about Friends. He's good. I like him. There were a lot of moments where I was like, this is pretty well acted. His dialect work is a little awkward in some moments.
Yeah.
But by and large, I enjoyed every scene that we got of him. Even, when we get to the end and he's, in handcuffs walking towards the ship and he's like, this isn't the end, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was good. That's a fair honorable mention. Yeah. And also, of course, I like to give it to Jake Sully.
Oh, I didn't like him.
Really?
Nah, I did not like him. There were moments where I thought he was good, but I didn't really like him.
Michelle Rodriguez?
Terrible, dude.
No, I'm not saying she was good. I was just honorable mention just because she's cool.
An honorable mention is supposed to be somebody who did a good job.
Okay.
Your honorable mention is somebody who was like not your top pick, but like your second pick. That's why I said honorable mention for Giovanni Ribisi.
CCH Pounder.
God damn it! What on errands do you have us running for the DA? Anyways, all right, so let's move things along. Shayde, what do you think is the best scene in the movie?
I'd say when Jake first switches over to his avatar for the first time, he gets that feeling of his legs back. He's
wiggling his toes.
So he's sprinting. He's so excited that like he isn't listening to anybody when they're telling him to stop. He just doesn't care. He just busts out that door and just starts going. Mm-hmm. That was a good scene. And then he finds Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, and I liked when she comes out of the door and he's like, "Whoa!" Like, damn, Grace, I didn't know you were built like this.
Yeah, there was some tension between Jake and Grace.
Yeah,
even in human form.
I think if their ages were a little different, then we could have seen some sparks flying.
What does that matter? Cut that out. But man, I meant it, in the sense of like dating the elderly instead of.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. That is a good scene, and I think that scene is cool because they spend so long building up to the avatars. Because that's the first time we see anybody in Na'vi form. I mean, we see them floating in the tanks and stuff.
Yeah.
But we don't actually see a Na'vi proper until Jake, Norm, and Grace have been in their avatar forms for like 15 minutes.
Okay.
So these are the first people that we get to see that are quote unquote alien. I think it is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because like I said, they've been building up to it for like the whole first half hour of the movie.
Yeah. It was a long build up.
Yeah, for sure.
What we got there?
This movie was a long build up in a lot of ways. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes long.
Yeah, it got tiring.
I will say, before we get into my favorite scene, I was going to mention this earlier, but I forgot. The whole hand-to-hand combat thing with Quaritch in the mech suit, pointless.
Yeah.
Don't need it. Cut it out. Shave 20 minutes off the movie. Like, I get it's supposed to be impactful for a couple of reasons. One, this is like the guy, and we actually get to see I mean, he's taken down by Neytiri. He's not even taken down by Jake Sully. And then it's the Colonel is the guy who like smashes in the windows. So Jake starts to like, he basically almost dies. And then we have a cute moment where Jake is in human form in Neytiri's arms. And she's like, I see you. Or maybe he says it first. I don't know. Whatever. But it's really not necessary. I think it just drags the movie. I think once you take out the massive gunship, you can probably end the main conflict right there. And then the rest of the movie is the other stuff that we see. Like the winding down, the culmination, the ending of the storyline. I think ultimately the mech fight doesn't add anything to the movie, personally.
Okay, that's fair.
But let's move on. My favorite scene, still early. It's a little after yours. This must be somewhere close to the midway point. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's that scene where Jake and Neytiri are out on a hunt, and he shoots a deer, and the deer goes down, and he goes through that whole ritual of like, thank you for making the sacrifice. You will be one with us in the tribe because we're going to eat you, and then, he says like, go with Awa or whatever. I think that scene is the best because apart from the world building, the only reason that this movie works is because of the relationship between Jake Sully and Neytiri. And that scene is the moment where Neytiri stops seeing him as an outsider.
Okay.
That's where their relationship starts to build. Because at the first, the mom, CCH Pounder, is like, hey, you have to take care of him and show him the ways. And she grunts and is like, oh, this isn't fair. And she pretty much feels that way until that moment where he makes a clean kill, honors the kill, and she sees that. And you can see, like, it's acted very well. You can actually see the shift in her face when she's like, wow, a clean kill. You've actually done this very respectfully, and you are honoring our ways. And that's where the relationship builds into something else. So I think that's my take on it. That's why I think that's the best scene in the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
I think if the relationship between Jake and Neytiri hadn't been handled well, then this movie would be horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Then it'd be 2 hours and 13 minutes of sadness.
Yeah.
No, that's a good scene.
Yeah. All right, Shayde, let's go ahead and let's do some final thoughts on Avatar.
Avatar 2009, you said?
Correct. It says it right there on the screen.
Yes. Oh yeah, there it is.
You didn't see it, but you said yes.
Yeah, I kind of lied there. Avatar 2009. It's fun. I mean, well, shoot, I don't even know if it's really a fun watch because it's still so long.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the mood for it, go for it. If not, then it's okay. Yes, the CGI is good. I don't know if it's good enough to make up for some other stuff, and how slow it can be. But yeah, I would give it in my opinion, six hair braids out of like 10.
Okay. I more or less agree with you. I agree that it looks pretty good. This is probably a movie. I'm sure I'll rewatch it at some point in my life, but I'm really not excited for it. Like I said earlier, I was really hoping that revisiting this, I would feel differently about it than I had before. And so I would be super excited to watch Way of the Water and Fire and Ash. That didn't really happen. And so even though it was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, I really have to watch another 7 hours of this.
Yeah. No, I am thinking that too. That's kind of dreadful, and that does suck.
Yeah. But, like I said, if you've got the time, if you're interested, go ahead and give it a watch. By all means.
So you at least can say you watched Avatar.
Sure.
Might as well. I mean, it is the #1 grossing film of all time besides Titanic.
I don't know what the numbers are anymore. It might be, since I'm pretty sure they re-released it in preparation for the first one.
Okay.
Because he wanted to say that it was the #1 grossing movie of all time.
Yeah. For a long time this movie was either #1 or #2.
It is, according to Box Office Mojo by IMDb Pro, the data is recent as of today. Avatar is #1 with 2.9 billion. Avengers Endgame is 2.8. Avatar 2 is #3 at 2.3, and Titanic is #4 at 2.2.
And it's funny to see a lot of these are from 2015 to 2020. Because those were the greatest years of all time, baby.
Well, Titanic is 1997.
But okay,
Avatar is 2009.
All right,
No, but I get the point that you're saying, and I don't agree that that's the best time for movies ever made. But it is interesting because it's a completely different world than it was. Because now it's the type of thing where if a movie comes out and it's absolutely amazing, everybody's going to be talking about it, and if Avatar 3 comes out and it's the best movie that's ever made, and 100,000 people go and watch it opening night, the very next day, you're going to hear 100,000 people saying it's the best movie ever made.
Yeah.
And then even more people are going to go. And so by the end, you're bombasted with 5 million people all telling you it's the best movie ever made.
Yeah, well,
the information just travels so much faster.
Spoilers too now it's so simple to get spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Instagram right away. If you're a nerd and you follow Instagram accounts if you follow nerd accounts after nerd accounts, you're gonna get spoiled.
That's why I don't follow them.
Really?
I don't. I most of my Instagram is nerd related content, but most of it is stuff that's being fed to me through the algorithm.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be spoiled. And if there's a movie that is coming out in a couple days and I know that I really, really want to see it, I'll just do a social media blackout. I won't go on. I'll stay away. Because spoilers, I've been thinking a lot about this. If I was like, man, I'm so excited for what's a recent release? We're talking
Superman.
about Avatar. So
okay.
Let's just say, like, if I was super excited about Avatar the way Fire and Ash, and I talked about it, and then somebody sent me a message being like, hey, I got an early screener, this character dies, you're blocked instantly.
Well, one time, what did I almost spoil? What did I spoil for you?
You spoiled a lot of things for me. You spoiled The Last Ronin. You spoiled The White Tiger in Daredevil Born Again. There's something else that you've spoiled. I can't remember it now, but those are the first two that always come to mind.
Okay, Daredevil Born Again is a different situation.
No, it's not.
I didn't mean to spoil it.
It doesn't matter. If you were anybody else, I would have blocked you.
And what was the other one you said?
The Last Ronin.
How did I? Oh yeah, I told you it was
Spoiler alert for The Last Ronin. You just don't spoil it for everybody. Spoiler alert for The Last Ronin. I really like the 90s turtle movies, but I haven't read, like, at that point, I hadn't read any comics. I hadn't seen most of the animated stuff, but I love those 90s movies. And so I'd heard all these great things about The Last Ronin, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick it up. And so I went and bought it, and I called Shayde, and I was like, dude, I bought The Last Ronin today. I'm about to start reading it, with the book in front of me. And I didn't know anything about it. I was just told that it was like basically The Dark Knight Returns, but for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That was all the information I had. And I didn't know anything. I tell Shayde that I have it, and he goes, "Isn't it crazy that Mikey's the last Ronin?" And I'm like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And you were just like, "Oh, my bad, man."
Yeah, you were really mad.
And then Daredevil Born Again. I was very specifically, like you were saying, dude, stuff is getting spoiled. You was like, have you been on Instagram? And that was the first time that I told you that when stuff like that happens, I stay off Instagram because I don't want to be spoiled about anything. And then you send me something and you're like, all you say is check this out. And I look at it, and spoiler alert for Daredevil Born Again, it's White Tiger's body just bleeding out on the steps. Oh, that made me so mad.
Yeah, that was on me. Listen,
You're the worst when it comes to spoiling.
I've toned it down with my spoilers.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry about that.
And you know how I treat spoilers when I'm saying stuff like you? I always catch myself before, and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't spoil that. But if it's something that we talk about lots of times, and I recommend it to you lots of times, and you never watch it, then I'm like, I'm just going to tell you this. This is a spoiler, so if you want me to stop, tell me. And then I tell you.
Yeah, okay, you're pretty good about it. I'll work on it. I'm sorry.
I respect other people's viewing experience.
I guess so. Yeah.
All right. We're going to go ahead and wind things down. That's enough for Avatar. Let us know what you guys thought of Avatar from 2009. The discussion doesn't end, though, because we are going to be talking more about Avatar and Avatar-related things over on our Patreon. That's patreon.com/newwavenerds. So if you want to hear that, go ahead and check it out. We've got a lot of fun stuff over there. We've got a lot of things where we talk about stories for random games, for movies, for comic books, for teams.
Yeah.
Most of it, it's honestly mostly just us talking about story ideas that we would like to see.
Basically, pretty much, which is fun. You
Yeah.
know, come along, join us.
Yeah, so if you like hearing us talk and are like, I wonder if these guys actually have any good ideas, you can be the judge of that.
Give us money to find out.
Pay me and I'll tell you if my ideas are good. All right. So we're going to go ahead and wind things down there. We'll see you guys next time to talk about Avatar 2, The Way of Water. Way of the Water? The Way of Water?
Way of Water.
Avatar 2, released in 2022.
Really?
It is The Way of Water.
2022.
So it's The Way of Water, but in the calendar it is listed as Way of the Water, which doesn't really make sense.
Way of the Water.
The Way of Water is a much better title.
Yeah, it is.
Good job. You picked the right name. Shout out. It's not like they had 70 people working on test marketing to figure out what was a good name for it. All right. Whatever. We'll talk to you guys next time for more nerdy things. Bye.
I want to do one of those like freeze frames, like, and then like it just zooms in on my face, and it's like an 80s style though, you know. It's like it's got some
like the ending of The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, exactly.